If you're looking to simplify your travel experience and pack light, you're in the right place. Today I'll be showcasing the tech gear that not only makes my travel easier, but also helps me to avoid the hassle of overpacking my tech bag. Welcome to Linky Lifestyle. I'm Marty and I've been travelling for over 25 years with my husband Michael. We love to share our expertise with you to help you plan holidays that aren't just fun but truly unforgettable. I love watching YouTube videos about what people carry in their tech bags. Sometimes I'm yelling at the screen going, no, you don't need all that. And sometimes I'm thinking, wow, that's a great idea, I'm going to adopt that. So if you find yourself doing that whilst watching this, let me know in the comments. I've always been interested in technology. I got my first desktop computer, a second-hand Mac Plus, which I still have by the way, for Christmas in 1993. It was my brother's and he sold it to my mother to give to me. I taught myself how to use it. My brother did an honours degree in IT, but he has no idea how to teach an ordinary person about tech. Hi Brooke, if you're watching. I loved it. It's tiny little black and white 9-inch screen. It's, I think, 16 kilobytes of RAM. Playing solitaire till dawn until my back was screaming at me. Those were the days. Then, in 1994, we got Windows PCs at work, instead of using those dumb terminals with green screens. A lot of my Mac skills transferred to Windows 3.1, and I soon became the Office expert. A few years later, Michael and I opened a computer training business, and nowadays I use my technology skills to manage aspects of this channel, as well as being an advanced Excel user in my day job as an accountant. Which is all just a long way of saying I love tech and I'm always interested in the latest and greatest thing. When I travel, I take quite a lot of tech things, which has definitely increased since starting this YouTube channel. Before I had the channel, I'd only take my laptop on longer trips and I'd never have a camera other than my iPhone. These days I have my MacBook Pro 14-inch M2. I'd show it to you, but it's driving the teleprompter software at the moment. I use it to research, write scripts, edit videos, and to run my teleprompter software. Oh, and to watch YouTube videos. It charges through USB-C or a MagSafe input and comes with a 96-watt charger. My iPad, which is a standard 11-inch third generation one. That's Chessie, isn't she cute? It's getting on a bit. It's nearly 5 years old, but it still works perfectly. I use it for entertainment mostly, reading, doing puzzles, reading Cruise Critic forums. It uses a 20-watt USB-C charging input. My iPhone 15 Plus, also Chessie, which is a couple of years old now, but still takes great videos for B-roll, and I use it for maps and things when getting around, as well as entertainment on the go using the Kindle app and my favourite number game, Sumaddle. It has a USB-C input for charging, or of course there's wireless charging including MagSafe. My Apple Watch, of course. It has a proprietary charger. My Bose over-ear headphones. These are the quiet comfort ones, which I've had for about 6 years and they're still going strong. Apart from a bit of pink from my hair on the white leather or whatever it is, they're in perfect condition. These charge with a micro USB input. AirPods. I thought I couldn't use the noise-cancelling AirPods Pro because they go in the ear canals and mine are teeny tiny. But Michael put the tiny tips on a set of his AirPods Pro and they fitted me. They're great. So I stole one of his sets. It's okay, somehow he'd managed to acquire 3 sets so he could spare them. I think these may be good enough to replace my Bose headphones, but I'll wait until my next long-haul flight, which is in January, before I decide. Also, I still use the over-ear headphones for editing videos, so I might still need to travel with them. The AirPods Pro are USB-C charging, but they also charge wirelessly. The AirFly for using on long flights to watch the in-flight entertainment through my Bose headphones, or maybe in the future my AirPods Pro. It charges through USB-C. My camera is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, which is great for getting B-roll on ships, as well as filming A-roll for videos while I'm travelling. I use a Sony ZV-E10 at home. I'm filming on it right now, and even though it's pretty small, I'm not lugging it around. The DJI camera is also USB-C. A small RGB LED filming light. Yet another USB-C device. Can you see a pattern here? My electric toothbrush. Is it tech? Well, that's debatable, but it needs to be charged, so here it is. I have a Philips Sonicare. I tried the Philips One travel toothbrush, but it doesn't have much power, so my teeth never felt clean. And it has a proprietary charging input. More on that later. My large lighted travel mirror for using in my hotel room or cabin. Ooh, you can see my studio. It uses micro USB. My small lighted makeup mirror, which I mainly use when doing skincare or makeup on a flight. This is USB-C. Magnetic lights for cruise cabins to light the way to the toilet in the middle of the night. They're movement sensing and rechargeable through USB-C. A small fan, mainly for cruise cabins, which can be stuffy, but I also take it for hotel stays. The charging input is USB-C. Handheld fan to keep me cool when I'm out and about. It's also USB-C. That's a long list of devices. I don't always take all of them though. If I'm only away for a week or two, I won't be filming a video, so I can leave out the light and sometimes the camera, depending on where I'm going. I don't take my Bose headphones and AirFly if the flight is less than a couple of hours. I don't usually take the magnetic lights and cabin fan unless I'm going on a cruise. And sometimes I don't even take my laptop, but that's rare these days. So you'd think I'd need a lot of accessories to support them, keeping them charged and usable. But this is where you need to think strategically. Until I sat down to write this script, I hadn't thought about my strategy. But once I started writing it out, it comes down to just 4 key points. Firstly, when buying new gear, ensure it charges through USB-C if possible. These days, pretty much everything comes with a USB-C input as standard, but some cheaper devices may still have micro USB. For example, my large lighted makeup mirror. But worst of all is devices with proprietary charging inputs. Some, like the Apple Watch and other smartwatches, have their own charger due to the size and physical specifications of the device, and you can't do much about that. But others, such as my Philips One toothbrush, should be able to charge through USB-C. In fact, Michael has an older version and his has a USB-C charging input. So when I bought mine, I didn't even think to consider what input it used. This is the one it uses. It's this little plug here. The problem with proprietary charging inputs is that you usually have to use the cable that came with the device. An example of this is my Shocks headphones. I don't travel with them. I use them for Zoom meetings in the office. But they have this little proprietary charging input. But I bought an adapter so I can use a USB-C cable to charge them. To be honest, because I don't bother taking the Philips One toothbrush anymore, I haven't looked to see if I can get an adapter for it, but there might be one out there. If I can't get USB-C charging devices, I'd next go to micro USB because I already carry an adapter for that to use with my Bose headphones and large makeup mirror. Second point, get the best tech accessories for your situation. That is, the most compact, lightest gear that will meet your needs. My laptop is the thing that needs the highest wattage when charging, and it comes with a 96 watt charger. But it can charge at lower wattages, and a 65 watt charger is perfectly okay. Then there's accessories that will charge multiple things at once. I have a fold-out iPhone, AirPods and Apple Watch charger, which is great. But you can also buy cables with multiple ends, so you can plug in everything to one cable at the same time. Which brings me to the third point. Think about the timing of charging your devices. When you get back to your hotel or cabin at night, you need to ensure that anything you're taking out with you the following day is going to be charging overnight. So cameras, power banks, your phone and watch. And anything you use in your room and don't take out, such as a laptop, iPad or toothbrush, can be charging during the day. And not everything needs to charge daily. Depending on use, my laptop can be charged every second or third day, my toothbrush once every 2 weeks, and my Bose headphones rarely need charging unless I'm doing a lot of video editing. You don't need to charge every device at the same time constantly. And once you choose a charger, you only need as many cables as you can plug into it. So you don't need the cables that came with your handheld fan, and your power bank, and your magnetic lights, and your laptop, and your AirFly, and so on. I mean, look at them all. And you don't need the massive power brick that came with your laptop, and the one for your phone, and the one for your iPad, and the one for your camera, and the one for anything else you might have. And speaking of cameras, if you have one that you charge by taking the battery out and putting it in a special charger, search for a battery for your model camera that has a USB-C input directly in it. This is for my Sony ZV-E10, but you can get them for any camera. Fourth and last point, keep up to date with rules. Cruise lines are often changing their rules about what you can bring on board. Fairly recently, Royal Caribbean banned multiple electric socket chargers, but you can still have multiple USB outlets. And airline rules on power banks are changing constantly. I don't think you've ever been allowed to have them in checked luggage, but they're getting stricter. When we had to stay over in Auckland last year because Michael got sick on the way home from the US, he says he had sick brain and didn't think it through, packed his really good 20,000 milliamp hour battery in his checked luggage. When we got home, there was a note inside saying that his bag had been scanned in Auckland and the power bank had been removed. There goes that power bank. And recently Emirates, which we're travelling on in January, announced that you can only have one power bank with you and it has to be under 100 watt hours, which is about 27,000 milliamp hours. So don't assume that because you've used something on a cruise or flight once, you can still use it. So what do I pack currently? I'm going to go through the full list, assuming I'm taking every single one of the devices I listed earlier, so it's quite a long list. First of all, the core of my charging and device support setup, the charger that plugs into the wall. Mine is a GaN charger, gallium nitride, which means that it manages heat in high-powered devices safely so they can be more compact. So this is tiny. I haven't found a smaller one. This has 2 USB-C outputs and 1 USB-A. It has a built-in US plug and comes with 3 click-on adapters that cover most of the world's different power outlet types. I like that they're click-on and not built in because I can leave the ones I don't need at home. And if I'm taking multiple ones, they can be squeezed into gaps instead of having one big brick taking up room. The charger doesn't have an actual power outlet in it, so depending on where I'm going, I sometimes need a separate adapter for my hair drying tool. But I also have a US hair drying tool too, so it's only if I'm going somewhere that doesn't have USA or Australian style power outlets that I need to worry about this. I see those Epica adapters all over YouTube, but apart from the fact you can't get them in Australia, they look big and chunky, so I haven't been tempted to get one of them. Then I have this fold-out charging mat that charges my phone, watch and AirPods. I like to plug the charger in next to the bed and use this on my bedside table so I can charge them overnight and have access to my phone to see the time and set alarms. I have 3 cables to plug into the charger, 2 USB-C and 1 USB-A, all of which have a USB-C plug on the other end. One of these is for the fold-out charger, one is for my iPad, which I charge every night also, and the third is for everything else. And that's where understanding the timing of your charging requirements comes in. I can easily swap between all the other devices as long as I know when they're likely to need charging. To charge my 2 micro USB devices, I have this adapter that converts USB-C to micro USB. That covers everything except my toothbrush, the Philips Sonicare. This is the biggest source of annoyance to me when it comes to reducing my charging needs. I have 2 options. The travel case it came with, which has a built-in USB-A cord so I can plug it into my charger, or I bought a charging stand that plugs into a power outlet. Neither are particularly compact and the charging stand requires an Australian power outlet. Fortunately, I can usually get 2 weeks out of my toothbrush, so I only need to worry about this on longer trips. Then I have a few other things. I usually have 2 power banks, although that looks like it's going to be changing if other airlines go the way of Emirates. I have a 10,000 milliamp hour one, or alternatively a 20,000 milliamp hour one, which has a built-in cable, which is handy, plus a smaller MagSafe one. The MagSafe one goes in my handbag for when I'm out and about, and I keep a small rolling square InCharge X cable there so I can charge devices other than my phone if necessary. If I'm going to be taking a lot of videos or doing some editing, I carry 1 or 2 solid-state drives for backing up my video footage. They use a USB-C to C cable to plug into my laptop, so this short one that I carry is a high-speed one that carries data really fast. I always have a micro SD card adapter so that I can plug the card from my DJI Osmo camera into my laptop if necessary, although I usually transfer any footage over a USB-C cable. I pack my AirPods neck cord so I won't lose an AirPod, particularly on a plane if I use them for white noise when sleeping. I always tuck a small screen cleaning cloth and a pen into my tech bag too. And finally, against all minimalist packing advice, but We know I'm not a minimalist. I have a few just in case items. USB-C to A and A to C adapters and a data blocking thing to prevent juice jacking. And speaking of protection, it's always a good idea to have a VPN to protect you and your data whilst traveling. We use NordVPN. We've had it for a couple of years now, and there's a link in the description below so you can make sure you protect yourself too. Getting back to my just in case items, the adapters and data blocker are all tiny and go in this small Ziploc bag. And I have a long USB-C to C cable. This is about 3 meters, which is about 10 feet, I think. This is useful if the only outlet in the hotel or cruise cabin isn't next to the bed. What's your genius tech packing tip? Comment below and share it with me. And I'd really love it if you'd subscribe and this video a like too. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers and we still have a long way to go. Even though I've minimized my tech gear, that still sounds like a lot of stuff. So how do I pack it? I won't talk about how I pack the actual devices here. You can probably work that out for yourself. Laptop, iPad and camera in my personal item, phone, small makeup mirror and handheld fan in my handbag, filming light, toothbrush, large makeup mirror, magnetic lights and cabin fan in my checked-in luggage. And of course, my watch is on my wrist. The rest of it goes in my tech bag, which is usually this Alpaca Tech Case Max. But, teaser, I've recently bought another option to hopefully reduce my in-flight needs by one bag, which I might talk about in a future video. I haven't tried it out yet. I have everything in here right now. Let's unpack it to see what's in there. In the front pocket I have the 10,000 milliamp power bank, the rolling square cable and the cleaning cloth. The Bose headphones fold up small enough to fit in here on one side, and I have all the cables in this back pocket, which is lined with soft fabric and designed for small tablets. If I coil them in different sizes, I can put them inside each other and keep it flat. I have an SSD, my AirPods and MagSafe power bank in the other large main compartment, with my charger and fold-out charging mat in the mesh pockets next to them. The neck cord is in this small magnetic pocket at the top, and the microSD card adapter is in a small pocket in this zip section. In the compartment where the headphones were, there are another 2 mesh pockets. One has the zip lock of adapters, and the other has the AirFly. I still have room for a larger power bank or another SSD in there too, but I left them out for today. Has this given you any ideas for streamlining your travel tech? Or do you just think I'm a hopeless overpacker? Let me know in the comments, and then go here to see 15 weird things I like to pack when I travel. See you over there.